Tonight on Cosmic Cantina, we dig up some history into the power of symbols in this country and around the world. What is the meaning behind them, and how much power do they wield? From Washington, D.C. to Disneyland, are we being manipulated with charged symbols? Then, Josh digs into Aleister Crowley and how ritual sex magic help win the war for the Allies. Take your pants off and strap in, people. I'm your host, Melissa Tittle, and every week I go to my favorite bar, Cosmic Cantina, and kick back with my co-hosts, Josh Golombeski and Matt O'Connor. We talk about aliens, Bigfoot, ghosts, ancient cultures, and anything from the unseen world that needs a little illumination. Welcome to Cosmic Cantina. I'm your host, Melissa Tittle, and tonight I'm drinking a red wine called Gangsters of Love from Northern California. Classy.
Ooh. Some people call her the Space Cowboy. Excellent joke, Matt. Well done. Sit down.
Saucy.
But nope, nobody's laughing.
Nobody's laughing. I'm drinking I got a vanilla porter. It's a bit of a dark beer. A dark beer, because it's kind of dark outside, dark and ominous clouds, and it just felt right. And I'm doing things that feel right for me. It's also why I'm not wearing pants. So
we noticed. Must be cold in there. Yeah.
If I say that on this podcast, somebody's going to say something inappropriate, so I'm not saying anything.
Right. Well, this very proud half Portuguese, a quarter Polish, quarter Irish guy named Josh is drinking a snow-capped cider called B2B. It's Colorado Peach. It's clean. It's full body. It's semi-sweet. It's Colorado-grown apple peach blend. It's very nice, actually. I've become a cider fan now that I'm, gluten-free. I say that every time.
Sure.
But I used to make fun of people who drank ciders because I thought it wasn't very manly, And then now I've come full circle. I enjoy the different tastes of ciders. That is me. That is me right now.
I love a cider. Yeah, good for you.
It's classy. Yeah. I like it, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you're listening to this podcast, you might be disappointed in America. You might think, what is happening? People are wearing masks. People are not wearing masks. What is going to happen with this country? Well, we have some interesting esoteric information on Washington, D.C., and also just weird magic shit that you just didn't know anything about that runs the course of power in this world. And it's going to get really dark and gritty, and of course, Josh is going to take us into the butthole at some point. But that's for last. You got to go through all the boring crap that I'm about to tell you before we get to that part.
Strap in. Yeah.
Strap on. Whatever you're into.
Sorry. This got dirty. Go, Melissa.
Real quick.
That's why you guys are on the podcast. Keep it dirty. Okay, so I found an article, of course. It's called 8 Secret Symbols Hidden in Plain Sight in Washington, D.C. This article was written in 2019, but I agree with this person's article of the unique properties of Washington, D.C. However, my view might be a little bit different. This is a total article about how, the Illuminati and Satan is running our government, and I'm not sure if I agree that Satan is running our government, but...
Reptilians, duh.
Yeah, hello. She obviously didn't listen to our last podcast. But this article is, let's just go through it. It's interesting. All right, so let's talk about the Washington Monument, the obelisk, which this woman is calling the Monument of Satan. All right.
Is it because it's a big phallus?
It's a huge phallus. Anybody who is that big of a phallus must be Satan.
Yeah, Satan.
Satan fucks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
The mail we're going to get after this. All right.
Some people like it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the obelisk, this woman says, but why did Robert Mills and the Washington National Monument Society choose this shape? And why the size? Right?
Just out of curiosity, Melissa, how girthy would you say that obelisk is?
Actually, I don't have the girth size, but I would say fairly girthy.
Okay, cool. Okay. No, yeah, all right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, but it is very long. It's 555 feet tall, or 6,660 inches. Ooh, 666.
Oh, wow.
So it
Oh, is
must
it really?
be.
I didn't know
It's
that.
literally the mark of the beast. Okay.
Okay.
So I want to go into the esoteric meaning of those measurements a little bit. So let's take 555. So if you look up 555 anywhere, and people talk about it being an angel number, they talk about it being communication from the spirit realm, or some kind of translation with sacred geometry. 555 always means positive change in all the places you bring up. 555, right?
Okay.
In the Old Testament, Moses is in Deuteronomy in the 5th book at 555. Moses is the mediator for the children of Israel between God. That's what it means in the Bible. Just in case
So it's
you're
some
looking
sort
at
of
555.
connection with a positive higher power.
Exactly. Being the mediator between God and the children of Israel. Also, there's another site that says that 555 is the control of time. 555 is also the number of mankind. 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 15, and then you break that down and it equals 6. And 6 is also a number of creation.
I'm not sure if I followed that math, but let's keep going. How'd you get?
We're
6
not
from
real good with
15?
numbers.
Okay, so 5 plus 5 is 10, plus another 5, right, is 15. So if you break down the 5 and the 1, right, for 15, that
becomes
equals
6.
6. Right.
Got it. Okay.
So let's get to 6,660 inches, which is the other measurement. Is also a symbol of balance and truth in the angelic realm. But
Okay.
if you so I mean, it's also the mark of the beast in the Bible, but it's also 666. I just want to go into a little bit like lame ass history right now. So 666 in the Bible. This is what the exact quote says in the Bible, in case people have forgotten.
Wait,
And that-
before you get to that, didn't we like rediscover that the actual number of the beast was 616?
Well, that's a different translation.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm about to explain is that when they've gone through the translation of when the book was written, when they translated the number 666, we were in Greek times, right? So it was from Greek, and they translated from Greek to Hebrew, Hebrew to Greek. And if you do that, it's 666. So if you translate it with a different language, it turns out to be 616.
Okay.
But during this time period, the writers kind of inserted this number during this Greek period because they were trying to tell the people in a code that they believe that who's ever running the government right now could be a predecessor from another Caesar that taxed the people too much.
Wow.
So the exact quote of what
Okay.
666 in the Bible is, this is what it says. And that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark or name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is the wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and his number is 666. So with this website that I found, and also I double-checked it with Wikipedia, which, of course, Wikipedia could be full of shit, too.
It's usually pretty good.
It's pretty good, except for
It's
some
spot
things
on.
like
All the
alien
time.
races, like not exact on. But
Yeah, that was fucked.
Dover
but,
demon.
but if you can look this up, they've written books about it. It's not. I don't think it's evil. I think that there's a lot of esoteric meanings to it. So I don't think it's the mark of Satan. But the obelisk is also a power source in Egypt. There was the Temple of Ra, which is the Temple of the Sun. It doesn't exist anymore. There's only one obelisk. There was literally thousands of obelisks, and people took them and they put them all over the world because they held a certain amount of power. So I think that the obelisk represents power, and it's from ancient Egypt. I don't think it's the mark of Satan. That's how I feel about it.
I know there's the what do you call it on churches, the spike that comes out of
Steeple?
steeple, sure, something like that. That is supposed to be a representation of like a connection to the higher, to God or whatever, to the higher positive power, whatever you want to call it. So
Right.
that makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay, so let's move on. So let's go to the Pentagon. The Pentagon is a satanic symbol of infinity. Okay, well, that's completely wrong. So the Pentagon is, first of all, it's not an infinity sign. An infinity sign does not look like a five-sided star, right? The Pentagon. Or the pentagram, sorry. The pentagram. The Pentagon is the pentagram.
Right.
And the pentagram has been associated with witches and it's evil, but it was to protect against evil spirits. So if they were going to build an association that was supposed to protect America, it would be under the guise of a pentagram. And that's why the Pentagon is shaped like the pentagram.
Well, no, everything's turned on its head. That's what I'm learning as I get older. Like, everything I thought was one way is the other. A pentagon is good. It's not bad. Like, what else in my life is turned upside down? What else do I have wrong? What else has been perverted as a young
Lucifer,
child?
turns out he's a pretty good guy.
Right. I mean, it's like, are we the baddies? Like are we on the
light?
Yeah. Like, the whole thing's messed up, and these symbols are a good example of that. But go on, Melissa.
Well, all the symbols come from the same source. They just get attached to different groups, and then those groups get hated, or it gets divided. Like with the cross and even the crescent moon. All of these things, they all kind of came from the same source, and then people kind of took them and said, no, they represent my group. And that's where all the fighting and this attachment to the symbols.
Well, you can charge a symbol. We're going to find out later. And like, some people try to take a symbol on purpose and change its meaning, and that's like a thing. And there's a way of doing that through sex magic. It's going to be really interesting. Anyways, go on. That's a little tease for deep in the show.
Josh has been up really late preparing the part of the podcast that's about sex magic. I get all the boring shit, but I'm so glad I get to go first. Okay, so on top of the Capitol building is what this person is saying is the goddess Isis sits above the Capitol building. I don't know why this has anything to do with Satan, because the goddess Isis in Egypt is the goddess of not only magic, but she's the goddess of love. She's the goddess of connection. She's resurrection. She's she's like Mother Mary. So I have no idea why this has anything to do with Satan.
Sounds like a lovely old broad.
Yeah, lovely broad. But if you look at the statue, of course, we're going to post this on the website so you can take a look. She almost looks like Athena. So she has a shield and she has a sword. So it's very Athena. She's dressed kind of Grecian, Roman looking. But then on the top, she has all of these stars, and it kind of reminds me of also the goddess Hecate, which is the goddess of resurrection and crossroads of the dead.
Interesting.
So, I mean, even further, I don't even think it's Isis at all, but it's definitely a representation of the female power, I think. Because the thing is that although this is our country was built on this patriotic type of understanding that these men made this country. If you look into a lot of the paintings and stuff, they bring up all of these goddesses. Like there's George Washington is in this famous painting in the Capitol building where he's surrounded by 13 maidens, 13 goddesses, right? Representing the 13 colonies, the first 13 colonies. And 13 is a very esoteric number in Egypt and in Freemasonry, but it also represents all the female power of all the goddesses.
Oh, so, okay. I didn't know that. That's cool.
What's the Statue of Liberty? Libertas, the Roman goddess of freedom. Okay. I thought for some reason I thought that was Isis too, but I guess it was incorrect.
So why is 13 considered unlucky then? Is that some misogynistic bullshit that happened through history?
There's some tie-in. I think there's a couple verses in the Bible that lend it to some unluckiness, but I think it's actually a perversion of when there was a matriarchal type of society that the 13 cycles of the moon. There used to be 13 months in a year. There's just it's like it's a restructuring of understanding our time now. So I think that's why 13 became unlucky. It became a switch in our society. Anyway,
cool.
so of course this person points out there's tons of Freemasonry